Chapter 6. A Fateful Letter. My father is one of the most famous senators in Rome, Caius said. Mine too, asserted Antonius. Quit preening yourselves, Publius said. You're the one who's always preening yourself, Antonius replied. I'll give you something, Publius said threateningly, and he struck his fist against the crate he was sitting on. Ha ha, retorted Antonius, and he quoted, He who is afraid to beat the ass beats the saddle. All right, that's true. And you're the ass, Publius countered. You're both asses, and I'm going to beat both of your hides in a second, Mucius grumbled. Don't forget our fathers' lives are at stake. Publius and Antonius fell silent. The boys stared anxiously into space for a while. They loved their fathers dearly. A chunk of lime from the ceiling dropped at their feet, but they didn't pay any attention. If only we knew which senator, Caius said. We should offer a sacrifice to Jupiter in the Temple of the Moon, Flavius said. Rufus cried out suddenly. You've all got blinders on. Why? The others asked, surprised. The letter, Rufus said. The letter must tell which senator is to be murdered. Mucius hissed. Udo, quickly, give us the letter. I'm sorry, young master. I no longer have it. Caius stamped angrily on the chunk of lime. What do you mean? You told us yourself you never delivered it. And I didn't, Udo said. It's in my cloak. Then go and get your cloak at once, Mucius commanded. Udo sighed. I'd like to do that, but the cloak is in some cellar where I slept last night, and I don't have the faintest idea which cellar it is. By all the Furies, why not? Mucius moaned. Well, it still was pitch dark when I escaped from the cemetery, Udo said. I ran through narrow, twisting alleys, up hills and down, and finally got hopelessly lost. I was tired, so I stole down some stone steps into a cellar and lay down to sleep behind a couple of barrels. The floor was like a rock, so I took off my cloak, rolled it up, and put it under my head. In the early morning, I got a rude awakening. A woman hit me on the head with a broom. Help! Murder! Thief! She shrieked. I started running again, and in the scramble left the cloak. I tore blindly around lots of corners. The last one turned out to be my undoing. I bounded into a group of drunken gladiators. They surrounded me and demanded to know who I was and what my name was. I just told them my name was Udo, then kept my mouth closed. They searched me for money. They didn't find any. My money was in my cloak, too. They were so angry that they wanted to beat me. Luckily, one of them had a better idea. If we beat the lout, afterward he won't be worth a copper, he said. Let's sell him as a slave, so at least we'll get something out of him. That's what they did, all right, dragging me off to Callan. They got 100 sesterces from me, which I consider quite cheap, Udo smiled, but the gladiators went away highly pleased. What a gouger, this Callan, Julius said, and he fleeced us for 450. That's not much for me either, Udo said, still smiling. Perhaps the gladiator who attacked you in the forum just now was one of the conspirators, Mucius said. That may be. He was wearing a wooden sword, and so was the Hercules at the cemetery. What I don't understand is how he knew I was at Callan's. Very simple, Julius said. As a former gladiator, he has a lot of friends among them. One started boasting about their having sold Callan a young Gaul named Udo. None of your talk does us any good, Mucius said. The conspirators themselves still don't know who they're supposed to kill. They're waiting for the letter. Udo, Publius said. Didn't you read the letter? I wouldn't have dared, young master. The letter was sealed. That wouldn't have bothered me, Antonius said. The fact that Udo didn't deliver the letter is a gift from the gods, Rufus said. Unfortunately, the gift from the gods is short-lived, Udo said. My master, the famed general, Polino, is coming to Rome himself in 3 days. Then the conspirators will learn from him whom they're supposed to kill. Then what was the point of sending you with the letter ahead of time? Julius asked. Because he hoped the famous senator would have already been out of the way. Polino seems to be in a hurry. His strategy generally is to strike like lightning. Oh, dear gods, Flavius wailed. The man isn't a general. He's a murderer. Wait, Julius said. I think we're all getting stirred up unnecessarily. There are 900 senators in the Senate. It's not likely one of our fathers is named in the letter. The boys breathed more easily. A lot of crazier things happen in life, Publius observed, smiling. Shut up, Caius said. Flavius became anxious again. We should run to our fathers at once and warn them, he said. None of them are at home, Julius reminded him. They're all in the Senate. A vote is being taken on an important proposal concerning an increase in taxes. The session could last all night, and, as all of us know, nobody is allowed in the Senate. Should we go to Xantippus and ask his advice? Flavius suggested. Pooh, Xantippus, Caius said. Again today, all he did was rage and fume. I'd have loved to hit him over the head. Hitting a teacher is not allowed, Julius said wisely. I know slaves who are teachers in schools, Flavius said. Aren't we allowed to hit them, either? No, that's also forbidden, Julius said. That's the end, Caius said. Next thing you know, we won't even be allowed to kill a fly. Who's going to kill whom? A surly voice said. Xanthippus stood at the entrance to the cave, glowering at his students. Master Xanthos, Mischius uttered in surprise.